Be me, 34 years old, successful marketing director at a pharmaceutical company, sitting in my corner office that I fought tooth and nail to get. Fought is the right word because they originally wanted to give it to Derek, who had half my qualifications. Reminded them during the meeting that diversity in leadership positions correlates with better company performance. Cited 3 studies I had bookmarked on my phone. Got the office. Anyway, today started like any other day. This morning meeting with the creative team about our new campaign. Noticed that Jake from Analytics keeps mansplaining the demographic data. Literally my job to understand demographics, but sure, Jake, tell me more about what women aged 25 to 40 want. Let him finish, because I'm professional, unlike some people. Then systematically dismantle his presentation with actual focus group data. The look on his face was priceless. Small victories. Lunch break rolls around. Usually eat at my desk while reading industry newsletters. Today decide to hit up the cafe downstairs. Need a break from staring at screens. Order my usual grain bowl with extra avocado. Yes, I know it's a cliche, but it's actually good for you, and I don't make decisions based on what other people think is trendy. Sit down at a table near the window. Pull out my phone and start scrolling through news. See an article that makes my blood boil. Another piece about declining marriage rates written by some male columnist. The premise is that men are avoiding marriage because divorce courts favor women. Here we go again with this nonsense. The article is full of the usual complaints. Men lose everything in divorce. Courts always side with mothers. Child support is unfair. Alimony is robbery. Blah, blah, blah. I'm reading this garbage and mentally drafting the email I'm going to send to the editor. When I notice a guy at the next table glancing over. He's maybe late 30s, business casual, drinking black coffee like some kind of minimalist. Looks like every other middle management type you'd see in this building. Probably works in finance or something equally soulless. He clears his throat. Oh great, here it comes. Some random man about to share his unsolicited thoughts. I don't look up from my phone. Maybe if I ignore him, he'll get the hint. He doesn't get the hint. Says, excuse me, sorry to bother you. At least he's polite about being annoying. I look up with my best what do you want face. He asks if I know what time it is. Glance at my watch and tell him. He thanks me and goes back to his laptop. Okay, that was fine, I guess. Go back to my article. Getting more irritated by the paragraph. The author is really pushing this narrative that men are victims of the family court system, completely ignoring centuries of women being trapped in marriages with no economic independence, ignoring that women still do 70% of household labor, even when working full-time, ignoring that women take career hits for having children while men get a fatherhood bonus in their salaries. I'm shaking my head without realizing it. The guy at the next table asks if everything's okay. Tell him I'm fine, just reading something annoying. He does that sympathetic nod thing. Asks what it's about, out of polite conversation probably. Normally I wouldn't engage. But I'm fired up, and sometimes you need to educate people. Tell him it's another article perpetuating myths about divorce and family courts. He raises his eyebrows, asks what kind of myths. Oh, he's going to get the full explanation. Explain that these articles always paint men as victims, when in reality the family court system was created by men. Men were the judges, the lawyers, the legislators. If it's broken, they broke it themselves. He nods along, seems to be listening. Good, maybe he's one of the few who can actually learn. He asks a question that seems genuine enough. Wants to know what I think about the statistics showing men pay more in divorce settlements. Tell him that's because men usually earn more. Wage gap is real, despite what Reddit wants to believe. Women take time off for children, sacrifice career advancement, support their husbands' careers. Divorce settlements are just recognizing that unpaid labor. He nods again, takes a sip of his coffee, asks another question. This one about custody arrangements. Says he's heard that mothers usually get primary custody. Tell him that's because mothers are usually the primary caregivers. Courts don't favor women, they favor whoever did the actual parenting, which is usually the mother because fathers don't step up. He seems to be considering this. Then he says something that catches me off guard. Mentions that he read somewhere that women file for divorce much more often than men. Says he thinks it was something like 70 or 80%. Asks what I think about that. I pause. Actually haven't thought much about that specific statistic, if it's even real. Probably one of those manipulated stats that men's rights activists throw around. Tell him I'd need to see the source because statistics can be misleading. He pulls out his phone. Scrolls for a minute. Shows me a screen with what looks like a legitimate research study. It's from Stanford or Yale or one of those places. The study shows that women initiate about 69% of divorces. In marriages where both people have college degrees, it jumps to around 90%. I'm reading this and my brain is already formulating the response. Tell him that this actually proves my point. Women file for divorce more because they're the ones being failed by the marriage. Men don't file because they benefit from marriage more. Wives do their emotional labor, cook their meals, raise their kids. Of course, women are the ones who finally get fed up and leave. He does this little half smile. Not condescending exactly, but something about it irritates me. Asks if I think it's possible that the high divorce rate initiated by women might suggest that women have more power in marriages than the narrative suggests. What kind of backwards logic is this? Tell him that leaving a bad situation isn't power. It's survival. Women file for divorce because they have to escape. Men create the conditions that make divorce necessary. He sips his coffee again, starting to think this is some kind of weird hobby for him, poking at people's arguments. He asks why I think women marry men who create such terrible conditions. If men are really that bad at being husbands, why do women keep choosing them? This question annoys me more than it should. Tell him that women are socialized to believe they need marriage. Patriarchal conditioning from childhood. Disney movies and romance novels and societal pressure. Women are sold a lie about what marriage will be. Then they get stuck with the reality. He nods like he's really thinking about it. Then asks if I'm married. Bit personal, but whatever. Tell him no. He asks if I've been married before. Tell him no again, getting irritated with the interrogation. He apologizes, says he's just trying to understand the perspective. Asks if most of my friends are married. Tell him about half are. He asks how many of them are happy. I pause because, honestly, when I think about it, most of my married friends complain about their husbands constantly. But that's normal, that's what everyone does. Tell him that marriage is work, and people vent about difficulties, but that doesn't mean anything. He asks how many of my married friends have gotten divorced. Think about it. Sarah divorced 2 years ago. Jessica just finalized hers last month. Amanda is currently separated. Rachel has been divorced twice. Megan is in marriage counseling that's clearly not working. Tell him a few have divorced, but that's just modern statistics. He asks what the reasons were. Sarah left because her husband didn't want kids, and she did, except she knew that before they got married. Jessica left because she said she'd outgrown her husband, which I supported because women shouldn't have to stay in relationships that don't serve them. Amanda left because her husband wasn't ambitious enough. Rachel's first divorce was because the guy was boring, and the second was because the guy was too focused on his career. Megan's complaints are that her husband plays video games and doesn't plan enough date nights. I'm listing these out and the guy is just listening. When I finish, he asks if any of those reasons sound like escape from terrible situations. Asks if they sound more like women exercising choice and preference. Feel my jaw tighten. Tell him he's oversimplifying complex relationship dynamics. There's emotional abuse that isn't always visible. There's neglect and failure to meet needs. Just because someone isn't hitting you doesn't mean you're not being harmed. He nods, says that's fair. Then asks if I think men also experience emotional neglect in marriages. Tell him it's not the same thing. Men's emotional needs are prioritized by society. Women are taught to cater to men from birth. The idea that men are emotionally neglected by wives is laughable when women spend their whole lives managing men's feelings. He does that little smile again. Asks if I've ever considered that maybe the reason women file for divorce more often is because they can. Because they know the system will support them. Because there's less social stigma for women who divorce than men. Because women are more likely to get the house and the kids and the favorable settlement. This is men's rights nonsense. Tell him he's ignoring all the data about women's poverty rates after divorce. Women suffer economically after divorce way more than men. Single mothers are the poorest demographic. He asks why women would file for divorce if it makes them poor. Tell him again, because they're escaping bad situations. Poverty is better than abuse. He points out that I just listed a bunch of my friends who divorced for reasons that weren't abuse. Asks if they're all in poverty now. Actually, they're all fine. Sarah got the house and her ex pays alimony. Jessica got a big settlement because they'd been married 15 years. Amanda's living in the marital home while the divorce is finalized. Rachel always landed on her feet financially. Megan probably won't divorce, but if she does, she'll be fine because her husband makes 6 figures. Don't answer his question directly. Tell him that individual cases don't override systemic patterns. He switches tactics. Asks what I think about prenuptial agreements. Tell him they're often coercive and unfair to women. Designed to protect men's assets while ignoring women's contributions. He asks if I would sign one if I got married. Tell him I probably wouldn't get married because it's a patriarchal institution. But if I did, I wouldn't sign a prenup because my contributions to the marriage would be worth just as much as any financial assets. He asks what contributions specifically. Tell him emotional labor, household management, potential child care if there were kids. He asks if I'd expect my hypothetical spouse to also do those things. Tell him, of course, partnership should be equal. He asks then why I deserve half of assets I didn't earn if the labor is being split equally. This guy is starting to really annoy me. Tell him he's not accounting for the wage gap and career sacrifices women make. He asks if I've taken career sacrifices. No, I've been very careful about that. Asks if I would take career sacrifices. Absolutely not. My career is important to me. Asks then what exactly I'd be contributing that would entitle me to assets. Tell him he's being reductive. Marriage is about partnership, not transactions. He agrees, says that's a good point. Then asks why divorce should be about transactions if marriage isn't. Asks why anyone should get anything they didn't earn if we're really viewing marriage as a partnership of equals. I'm getting flustered now. Tell him the legal framework exists to protect the vulnerable party. He asks who the vulnerable party is in a marriage between equals. Tell him it's usually the woman. He asks why women are vulnerable if women are equal. Starting to feel like I'm being trapped in circular logic. Tell him he's not understanding intersectionality and systemic power dynamics. He says he's trying to understand. Asks me to explain how women are simultaneously equal to men and vulnerable to men. Asks how women are both empowered to leave marriages at high rates and victimized by the marriages they're leaving. Take a breath. Tell him that women can be systemically oppressed while also making individual choices. The personal is political, but individual women have agency within oppressive structures. He nods, asks what the oppressive structure of modern marriage is specifically. List out the obvious things. Women do more housework. Women sacrifice careers for children. Women deal with the mental load. Women's health suffers from stress of inequality. He listens to the whole list. Then he asks if women are forced to marry. No, of course not. Asks if women are forced to have children. No, definitely not, I'm pro-choice. Asks if women are forced to stay married. Obviously not given the divorce statistics he mentioned. Asks what exactly makes it an oppressive structure if every part of it is voluntary. Tell him that choice under patriarchy isn't real choice. Women are conditioned and coerced by societal expectations. He asks if I think women are capable of making real choices. Of course women are capable. He asks, then which is it? Are women making choices, or are they conditioned victims? Accuse him of bad faith arguments. Tell him he's ignoring the nuance. He apologizes, says he's genuinely trying to understand. Says, it seems like the argument is that when women make choices that work out badly, it's because of patriarchy and conditioning. But when women make choices that work out well, it's because women are strong and capable. Asks how we can tell the difference. Tell him you can tell by the outcomes. If the outcome is inequality, then the choice was constrained by patriarchy. He asks about divorce. Asks if divorce is a good outcome or a bad outcome. Tell him it depends on the situation. He asks how the situation is different when a woman divorces versus when a man divorces. I'm stumbling over this. Tell him women divorce because they need to. Men divorce because they're selfish or found someone younger. He asks if I have data on that. Tell him it's a known pattern. He looks it up on his phone. Shows me an article about how men are more likely to remarry quickly after divorce, but women report being happier after divorce. Asks if that sounds like women are escaping or like women are upgrading. The word upgrading bothers me. Tell him women are happier because they're free from performing emotional labor. He asks if being married to a woman means no emotional labor is required. Think about this. Tell him both parties perform emotional labor, but women perform more. He asks if I know any men who are married. Of course I do. Asks if they seem like they perform no emotional labor. Think about the married men I know. My colleague Brian is always talking about relationship stuff. Planning trips with his wife and remembering anniversaries. My neighbor Tom does all the cooking in his marriage. My friend's husband does the bedtime routine with their kids every night. But these are probably exceptions. Tell him some men step up, but they're not the majority. He asks what I'm basing that on. Tell him the research, the studies, the data about household labor division. He nods and looks something up. Shows me a study about how millennial couples split household work more evenly than previous generations. Shows me data about how fathers today spend triple the time with kids compared to the 1960s. Tell him that's good, but we're not there yet. Still not equal. He agrees, says that's fair, then asks if the trend is moving toward equality. Have to admit it is. He asks what happens when we reach actual equality. Asks if women will still file for divorce at 80%. Don't have an answer for that. Tell him I guess we'll see. He smiles and says, yeah, we will. Then he says something that really gets under my skin. Says that maybe the reason women file for divorce more often isn't because marriages are failing women. Maybe it's because women know they can. Because despite all the talk about courts favoring men and women suffering in divorce, women actually have a lot of power in the decision. Women can leave whenever they want and take half or more with them. Women usually get the kids. Women get sympathy and support for leaving. Men who divorce are assumed to have done something wrong or are having a midlife crisis. Women who divorce are assumed to be brave and standing up for themselves. Tell him that's a completely cynical view. Ignores all the real suffering women endure. He says he's not denying some women suffer, but asks if the statistics suggest that most of these divorces are about suffering or about preference. Asks if a system where one party initiates separation 80% of the time sounds like a system where that party is oppressed. I'm actually getting emotional now, which pisses me off. Tell him he's being manipulative with statistics. He says statistics are just numbers. Interpretation is where bias comes in. Asks what my interpretation would be if men filed 80% of divorces. Immediately no, I'd say it proved men were abandoning families and shirking responsibility. Don't say that out loud. He continues. Says the narrative about divorce is that men benefit from marriage and women suffer. But if that were true, men would be the ones fighting to stay married. Men would be the ones initiating divorce at higher rates to escape. Instead, women are leaving en masse. Asks what that really suggests about who benefits from modern marriage. Tell him women leave because they're not getting what they need. He asks what they need. Tell him partnership, equality, emotional support, help with household duties. He asks if women communicate those needs before filing for divorce. Think about my friends again. Sarah's husband didn't know she was unhappy until she asked for a divorce. Jessica admitted she'd been checked out for 2 years before telling her husband. Amanda's husband was apparently shocked when she left. But that's because men don't listen. Tell him women communicate, but men don't hear them. He asks if I think women are clear and direct in their communication. Tell him women shouldn't have to spell everything out. Partners should be attentive and notice. He laughs a little. Not mean, but like he's genuinely amused. Says, that's an interesting standard. Asks if I would want to be held to that standard. Asks if I'd want someone to leave me without clearly telling me what was wrong. Tell him it's different. He asks how. Tell him women are taught to communicate indirectly to avoid conflict. He says that sounds like a choice women are making. Tell him it's not a choice, it's conditioning. He asks when women become responsible for their own communication patterns. Asks at what age conditioning becomes choice. I'm getting tired of this conversation. Tell him I need to get back to work. He says, of course, apologizes for taking up my time. Seems genuine about it. Stands up and extends his hand. Shake it because I'm not rude. He introduces himself properly. Says his name is Michael. Asks for my name and I tell him. He says it was interesting talking to me. I hope I have a good rest of my day. Walks away before I can respond. Sit there for another minute finishing my grain bowl. Trying to process the conversation. Feel unsettled in a way I can't quite name. Not because his arguments were good. They weren't. He was clearly biased. But something about the way he laid out the logic. Head back to my office. Can't focus on work. Keep thinking about the statistics. Pull them up myself. Women do initiate divorce at much higher rates. It's not men's rights propaganda, it's actual data. But that doesn't mean what he thinks it means. Women file for divorce because marriage fails women. Not because women have power. Power would be not needing marriage at all. Power would be marriage serving women the way it serves men. Except how does marriage serve men if they're not the ones choosing to leave? If marriage benefited men more, wouldn't men be happy to stay? Wouldn't women be the ones wanting out because they're getting a bad deal? No, that's twisted logic. Women want out because the deal is bad. The fact that women can get out doesn't mean marriage served them. It means they finally got the legal right to leave. But they've had that legal right for decades now, and the rate keeps climbing. More women leaving. My friends, my colleagues, women I read about. Think about what they say when they leave. I deserve better. I'm not happy. I need to focus on myself. He wasn't meeting my needs. I've outgrown this relationship. We want different things. None of that sounds like escape. That sounds like choice, like preference, like wanting something different. No, I'm being manipulated by one conversation with some random guy. Probably does this for fun. Probably goes around trying to mindfuck feminists. Check my social media. Scroll through posts from various women I follow. Someone celebrating her divorce anniversary. Called it her Freedom Day. Talking about how much better her life is. She has the house. The kids visit their dad every other weekend. She's dating again. Feels like herself for the first time in years. Another post about how marriage is a trap. Women should stay single. Partnership without papers. Keep your own money. Another about how her husband didn't appreciate her. So she left. Got a good settlement. Feeling empowered. These don't sound like women fleeing abuse. They sound like women who decided they didn't want to be married anymore. And faced no real barriers to leaving. And benefited from leaving. Shake my head physically. I'm letting one conversation derail my entire worldview. This is ridiculous. Try to work. Write some copy for the new campaign. It's targeting women. Empowerment messaging. You deserve the best. Don't settle. Choose yourself. Stare at what I've written. It's the same messaging everywhere. Women's magazines. Social media. Self-help books. You deserve more. If he's not meeting your needs, leave. Your happiness matters most. Never see that messaging for men. Men are told to work on their marriages. Be better husbands. Meet her needs. Keep her happy. Or she'll leave. The asymmetry is suddenly very visible. Women encouraged to have high standards and leave if they're not met. Men encouraged to meet increasingly high standards or face loss. No, that's not fair. Men have been running things forever. This is just balancing out. Women claiming power. But if women are claiming power through marriage and divorce, then marriage isn't oppressing women. It's a system women are using to their advantage. My head hurts. Check the time. Only 2 p.m. Feel like I've been thinking in circles for hours. Get up and walk to the break room. Make some tea. Chamomile because I need to calm down. Linda from HR is in there. Asks how I'm doing. Tell her fine, just needed a break. She starts talking about her weekend. Went to her daughter's soccer game. Her ex had the kids last weekend, so it was her turn. Mentions casually that her ex pays for all the sports stuff, plus child support, plus he kept the mortgage on the house she lives in with the kids. She sounds totally normal about it. Like this is just how things work. Ask her, without really thinking if she ever feels bad about it. She looks confused. About what? About him paying for everything. She laughs. Says he makes way more than her. Plus he was barely around when they were married. Always working. This is the least he can do. Ask if he was abusive. She says no, just absent. Emotionally unavailable. She needed more. There it is again. Needed more. Deserved better. Wasn't meeting needs. Linda asks why I'm asking. Tell her no reason, just curious. She says divorce was the best thing she ever did. She's so much happier now. Dating a great guy. No pressure to get married again, though. She likes her independence. And the child support doesn't hurt. She laughs when she says that last part. Like it's a joke, but also not really a joke. Go back to my office. Sit down and open my browser. Start searching for more information. Divorce statistics. Who initiates? Why they initiate. Outcomes. Find a study that surveyed divorced women. Ask them why they filed. Top reasons are lack of commitment, too much arguing, infidelity, marrying too young, unrealistic expectations. Lack of commitment is number 1. Not abuse. Not financial control. Lack of commitment. What does that even mean? He wasn't committed enough. Committed to what? The marriage they were literally in. Scroll down. There's a section about men's reasons for divorce. Similar list, but infidelity is higher. Lack of commitment is lower. Another study about post-divorce satisfaction. Women report higher life satisfaction after divorce than men. Women's standard of living often decreases, but happiness increases. Men's standard of living stays stable or increases, but happiness decreases. So women are happier, poor, and divorced than married. Men are sadder even though they're financially stable. That should prove my point. Marriage makes women unhappy, except women chose marriage, and women chose divorce. If marriage was so terrible, why did happiness increase after divorce instead of during marriage? Why didn't women just not get married? Find myself on a forum. Women talking about their divorces. One woman says she left because her husband gained weight. Another because her husband's career stalled. Another because she got bored. Another because she met someone else. They're all supporting each other, telling each other they deserve happiness. Life is too short. Don't settle. Imagine if men said these things, left their wives for gaining weight, for not being exciting enough, for meeting someone else. They'd be crucified, called shallow, disloyal, selfish. But when women do it, it's empowerment. It's self-care. It's refusing to settle. There's a double standard, a massive one, and it favors women. No, that can't be right. Women are oppressed. Marriage is a patriarchal institution. Divorce laws were written by men. Look up history of divorce law. Used to be very hard to get divorced. Required fault, adultery or abuse or abandonment. Then no-fault divorce was introduced. Could divorce for any reason. Incompatibility. Irreconcilable differences. Women's groups pushed for no-fault divorce. Said it would free women from bad marriages. And it did. Divorces skyrocketed. Initiated mostly by women. So women lobbied for easier divorce. Got easier divorce. Used it more than men. Benefited from it more than men. That's not oppression. That's literally the opposite. Feel like the floor is tilting. Everything I've believed about marriage and divorce is inverting. No, I'm being crazy. One conversation and some internet research doesn't override everything. There's still the wage gap. Women still do more housework. Women still face discrimination. But none of that explains the divorce statistics. None of that explains why women are the ones leaving. If marriage is so bad for women, if divorce is so hard on women, why are women the ones choosing it in such high numbers? The only explanation that makes sense is that divorce isn't hard on women, at least not hard enough to stay. Women are making a cost-benefit analysis and deciding leaving is better than staying, and they're able to make that choice because the system supports it. The system supports women leaving. Courts generally favor mothers in custody. Women usually get the house, or at least half. Alimony and child support flow primarily from men to women. Women get social support for leaving. They're seen as brave. Men who leave are seen as abandoning their families. Men who fight for custody are viewed with suspicion. Men who don't want to pay alimony are called cheap. Men who move on quickly are having a midlife crisis. The incentives all point one direction. Women are incentivized to leave. Men are incentivized to stay. And the statistics reflect that. Women leave. Men try to make it work, or at least don't initiate the split. This is the opposite of what I've always believed. The opposite of what everyone says. Marriage benefits men more than women. Divorce hurts women more than men. Women are trapped and powerless. But the numbers show women exercising power. Leaving when they want. Taking resources with them. Moving on to report higher happiness. Check the time again. Almost 4. Have accomplished basically nothing today. Still have that campaign copy to finish. Can't focus. Think about my own life. Never married. Always said it was because marriage is patriarchal. Because I don't need a man. Because I'm independent. But actually, I've had relationships. Several long-term ones. Why didn't they lead to marriage? Tom wanted to get married. I said I wasn't ready. Then I wasn't sure. Then I thought we wanted different things. Broke up with him after 4 years. David also wanted to get married. Brought it up multiple times. I always changed the subject. Said marriage was just paper. If we loved each other, we didn't need it. He eventually got frustrated and left. Convinced myself both times that I was the one dodging a bullet. Tom was too clingy. David was too traditional. I deserved better. There it is again. I deserved better. The same thing my divorced friends say. The same thing women on forums say. The constant refrain. Deserved better than what, though? Tom was kind and supportive. Had a good job. Wanted kids. Would have been a good father, probably. David was ambitious and smart. Made me laugh. We had good chemistry. He would have been a good husband, probably. But I didn't want to marry them. Didn't want to lock myself down. Wanted to keep my options open. Wanted to see what else was out there. That's not escaping oppression. That's just wanting something better. Or thinking something better exists. Or not wanting to commit. Maybe that's what lack of commitment means. Not that he wasn't committed, but that she wasn't. Didn't want to stay. Found it easy to leave. My phone buzzes. Text from Sarah. Asking if I want to get drinks Friday. Says she needs to vent about her ex. He's dating someone new. Some girl in her 20s. Sarah is 41. Type back sure what time. She suggests 7 at our usual place. Confirm. Put my phone down. Think about Sarah's divorce. She initiated it. Her husband didn't want kids. She knew that before marriage. He was upfront about it. She thought she'd change his mind. When she didn't, she left. Got the condo they bought together. He bought her out and moved to a smaller place. She got alimony for 5 years because she'd been a stay-at-home wife. Even though they didn't have kids. She just didn't want to work. Now she's mad he's dating someone younger. Mad he's moved on. Meanwhile, she's been on dozens of dates. Complains constantly that men her age are all damaged or boring. Wants someone exciting and successful, but also emotionally available and ready to commit. Hasn't found this unicorn yet, and I always support her. Tell her she deserves exactly what she wants. Don't settle. The right person is out there. But what if he's not? What if her ex-husband was pretty good, and she left him over something he was clear about from day one, and now she's alone and getting older, and he's moved on with someone who doesn't want kids either? Who made out better in that divorce? Sarah would say she did. She's free. She got money. She has options. But does she, though? She's aging out of the dating market she wants. Men her age want younger women. Men younger than her definitely want younger women. Men who want serious relationships at her age usually want kids or already have them. Her options are shrinking. Her ex, though, he's probably fine. Men can date younger for decades. He's got a good career. He's in decent shape. He can start over easily. The same pattern I've seen repeatedly. Woman leaves. Woman struggles to find what she's looking for. Man moves on and does fine. But we don't talk about that. We talk about how women are happier after divorce. We don't mention the survey was taken 1 year out. We don't follow up at 5 years or 10. Close my laptop. Can't think about this anymore. Need to go home. Pack up my stuff. Head to the parking garage. Sit in my car for a minute before starting it. Think about that guy Michael. The conversation keeps replaying. His questions. The way he just let me talk and then pointed out the contradictions. He didn't yell or get aggressive. Didn't call me names. Just asked questions. Made me defend positions I'd never really examined. And I couldn't. Not coherently. Not without contradicting myself. Women are oppressed but also empowered. Women are trapped but also choosing to leave. Women suffer in divorce but also file for it at overwhelming rates. Women are victims but also exercising unprecedented choice and power. All of it can't be true. Some of it has to be narrative. Story we tell ourselves. A story I've been telling myself. Drive home on autopilot. Get to my apartment. It's nice. 1 bedroom in a good neighborhood. I pay for it myself. Proud of that. Kick off my shoes. Pour a glass of wine. Sit on my couch. Open my laptop again. Can't help myself. Need to find something that proves Michael wrong. That proves I'm right. Search for articles about women and divorce. Find the usual suspects. Huffington Post piece about how divorce sets women free. Vox article about the gender dynamics of separation. Medium essay about choosing yourself. Read through them. They all say the same things. Women are brave for leaving. Women shouldn't stay in unhappy marriages. Women deserve fulfillment. None of them address the statistics. None of them ask why women are leaving so much more. They treat it as self-evident. Of course women leave more. Because marriage is worse for women. But that logic doesn't hold. If marriage is worse for women, women wouldn't enter it. If divorce is worse for women, women wouldn't initiate it. Unless women are just stupid. But I don't believe that. Women are smart and capable. So smart, capable women are choosing marriage. And then choosing divorce. In huge numbers. And the system accommodates both choices. That's not oppression. That's freedom. Maybe too much freedom. Freedom without responsibility. Where did that thought come from? Sound like a conservative. Sound like a man. But it's been nagging at me since the conversation. If women have the power to marry or not. And the power to divorce or not. And generally benefit from exercising both powers. Then women have a lot of power. And if women have a lot of power, then what am I fighting against? What is feminism even for at this point? In the workplace, sure, there's still issues. I've faced discrimination. The glass ceiling is real. But in relationships, in marriage and divorce, women seem to have the upper hand. And have had it for a while now. Finish my wine. Pour another glass. Think about my friends who are still married. The ones who complain constantly. About husbands who don't help enough. Who don't listen enough. Who aren't romantic enough. Who play video games. Who watch sports. Who work too much or not enough. And their husbands, the ones I've met at dinners and parties, they seem tired, worn down, walking on eggshells, trying to keep their wives happy, never quite succeeding. One of them, Jen's husband, Mark. He does all the cooking because Jen doesn't like to. He does bedtime with the kids. He works full-time. He plans date nights, and Jen still complains about him. Says he's not emotionally present enough, whatever that means. Asked her once what she contributes. She got offended. Said she manages the household, which apparently means she texts Mark lists of things to do. But I didn't push back. Supported her like I always do. Told her she deserves a partner who shows up. Mark is showing up, though. He's doing everything. It's never enough. And if Jen divorces him, which she threatens regularly, she'll get primary custody of the kids. She'll get child support, probably alimony, probably the house, and everyone will support her. Tell her she's brave, that she deserves better, and Mark will see his kids every other weekend, pay for a house he doesn't live in, start over in his 40s. And if he complains, he'll be told to man up. The unfairness of it hits me viscerally. This is wrong. This is deeply wrong. But I've been supporting this system, advocating for it, celebrating it. Every time a friend divorces, I cheer her on. Every time I hear about a divorce settlement, I approve. Every time a woman leaves a man, I assume he deserved it. Never once considered the man's perspective. Never once thought about fathers losing their kids. Never once questioned whether the reasons for divorce were valid. Just automatically sided with the woman. Because women are oppressed. Women are victims. Women are always right. Except the numbers don't support that. 80%. Women filing 80% of divorces. That's not oppression. That's domination. The word shocks me. Did I just think that? Women dominating men through marriage and divorce. But what else would you call it? One group initiating the vast majority of separations. One group benefiting from the legal and social framework. One group being celebrated for choices the other group would be condemned for. Imagine the outcry if men filed 80% of divorces. There would be national campaigns, legislative action, emergency sessions about the crisis of men abandoning families. But when women do it, silence, or celebration, or justification. I feel sick, actually nauseous. My entire worldview is crumbling. Everything I've believed, everything I've argued for, everything I've built my identity around. Feminism as I understood it. Women fighting against oppression, smashing the patriarchy, claiming equality. But this isn't equality. This is advantage. Women have advantage in the most important intimate relationship. The power to enter or exit at will. The support of law and society. The benefit of the doubt. And we've framed it as oppression. We've claimed victimhood. While exercising power. I've claimed victimhood. While exercising power. Never got married because I didn't want to. Not because I couldn't. Had men who wanted to marry me. Chose not to. Kept my freedom. Kept my options open. And felt morally superior about it. Felt like I was resisting patriarchy. Really, I was just prioritizing myself. Which is fine. People should prioritize themselves. But it's not brave. It's not revolutionary. It's just a choice. The same choice my divorced friends made. Prioritizing themselves. Over their marriages. Over their husbands. Over keeping families intact. And society cheers for it. I've been cheering for it. But what about the men? What about the husbands who wanted to stay married? The fathers who wanted to see their kids every day? The guys who were trying their best, even if it wasn't perfect? They don't matter. Their pain doesn't matter. They're just obstacles to women's happiness. That's how I've been thinking. That's how feminism taught me to think. Men are the problem. Marriage is the problem. Commitment is the problem. Women should be free. Free to choose. Free to leave. Free to take resources. Free from consequence. Because we're victims. We're owed this. It's reparations for the patriarchy. But I'm not a victim. I've never been a victim. I've had every opportunity. Made my own choices. Faced normal human challenges. Not systemic oppression. And I've used feminism as a weapon. To justify selfishness. To avoid accountability. To claim moral high ground. Just like my friends. Just like the women online. Just like the whole movement. We're not fighting oppression. We're exercising privilege. And calling it justice. Sit there with my wine. Feeling like I've been walking around with a blindfold. And someone just ripped it off. Michael didn't rip it off. He just asked questions. I did the rest. Followed the logic. saw where it led, and it led here, to my apartment, alone at 34. No husband, no kids, no prospects really. Told myself I was independent, empowered, choosing myself. Really, I was hedging my bets, waiting for perfect, unwilling to commit, keeping one foot out the door. The same pattern I've seen in every divorced friend, the same pattern in the statistics. Women keeping one foot out the door, ready to leave when things get hard, or boring, or imperfect. Because we can. Because the system lets us. Because everyone tells us we should. And men just have to accept it. Have to keep trying. Keep meeting higher standards. Keep competing for women who might leave at any moment. Keep paying for families they might lose. No wonder men are opting out of marriage. The article I read this morning, it wasn't whining. It was rational. Why would men sign up for a contract where the other party can break it at will, take half the assets, restrict access to children, and be celebrated for it? They wouldn't. They're not. Marriage rates are falling. Men are refusing to propose, refusing to commit, and we call them man-children. Say they're afraid of commitment. Say they're not good enough. Maybe they're just smart. Maybe they've done the math. Maybe they've seen their fathers and friends lose everything and decided it's not worth the risk. Can't blame them. I wouldn't sign that contract either. I haven't signed it. Specifically avoided it. But I've maintained moral superiority somehow. Acted like men are the problem. Like marriage is oppressive to women, when really modern marriage is risky for men. Very risky. And women hold most of the cards. We hold the cards. And we're playing them. 80% of the time. We're walking away winners. Except are we winning? Look at my life. Look at Sarah's life. Look at Jessica and Amanda and Rachel. We're alone. Or dating people we're not excited about. Or holding out for someone better. Someone who probably doesn't exist. We had good men. Imperfect, but good. And we left them or never committed to them. Because we could. Because we were told we should. Because happiness is paramount. Because we deserve the best. And now we're in our 30s and 40s. No families. No partners. Just careers and apartments and girls' nights where we complain. This is what winning looks like, apparently. And the men we left, they're mostly fine. Sad for a while maybe. Then they date younger women. Start over. Build new families. We're aging out. They're not. We won the battles. Divorce settlements and custody and alimony. But we're losing the war. The war of building actual lives with people. The war of lasting partnership. The war of family. Because we treated it all as disposable, upgradable, something to optimize. And you can't build anything lasting if you're always ready to leave. Finish my second glass of wine, feeling drunk and sad and angry. Angry at Michael for starting this. Angry at myself for following through. Angry at feminism for lying to me. Angry at society for going along. We've built a system that makes marriage fragile, that encourages women to leave, that punishes men for committing, and we call it progress. We've elevated women's happiness over everything, over commitment, over family stability, over men's well-being, over children's need for fathers, and we're shocked that it's not working out, shocked that people are lonelier, shocked that birth rates are falling, shocked that men are checking out. It's not shocking, it's inevitable. If you make something risky and unrewarding, people stop doing it. Men are stopping, rationally choosing not to marry, not to have kids, not to commit to women who might leave. And soon women won't have the choice, because there won't be men willing to participate. And we'll blame men for that too. Call them commitment phobic. Call them Peter Pans, never examining our role, never questioning our choices. 80%. We file 80% of divorces. And somehow we're the victims. The math doesn't math. The logic doesn't logic. The narrative doesn't match reality. And I've been living in the narrative my whole adult life, building my identity on victimhood I don't have, fighting oppression that doesn't exist, at least not the way I thought. There are still issues, real issues, but marriage and divorce aren't them. If anything, they're areas where women have too much power, not too little, and admitting that, even to myself, feels like betrayal, betraying feminism, betraying women, betraying everything I've stood for. But what have I stood for really, if it's based on lies? What kind of feminism celebrates women leaving good men, celebrates breaking up families, celebrates taking resources from fathers, celebrates avoiding commitment. That's not equality. That's not justice. That's just selfishness dressed up as empowerment. And I've been selfish, justified it as strength, as independence, as refusing to settle. Really, I've just been afraid. Afraid to commit. Afraid to be vulnerable. Afraid to build something that might not be perfect. And I've hurt people. Tom and David. Good men who wanted to build lives with me. I walked away. Told myself they weren't enough. They were probably enough. Probably more than enough. I just wanted the fantasy. The perfect partner who doesn't exist. Same thing my divorced friends wanted. Same thing all these women want. Perfection or nothing. And we're getting nothing. But calling it freedom. Look around my apartment. Nice furniture. Good art. Everything chosen by me for me. It's empty though. Quiet. No one to share it with. This is what I fought for. This is what feminism promised. Independence. Didn't promise it would be lonely. Didn't promise I'd be facing 40 alone. Didn't promise I'd regret my choices. But I'm starting to. Really seriously starting to. And I can't talk about it. Can't tell my friends. Can't post about it. Can't even think about it without guilt. Because doubting feminism is heresy. Questioning the narrative is betrayal. Admitting men might have a point is treason. So I'll keep quiet. Keep pretending. Keep supporting my friends' divorces. Keep celebrating women's choices. Keep claiming oppression. But I'll know, somewhere deep down, that the guy in the cafe was right. Women file 80% of divorces. Not because we're oppressed. Because we can. Because we want to. Because the system supports us. And that's not victimhood. That's power. Power I've been pretending not to have. So I can keep claiming victim status. Keep demanding more. Keep avoiding responsibility. The truth sits heavy. Heavier than I expected. Changes everything. Changes nothing. I'll go back to work tomorrow. Same feminist. Same arguments. Same certainty. But underneath, in the quiet moments, I'll remember this feeling of realizing I've been wrong about something fundamental. And I'll remember Michael asking simple questions, letting me talk myself into circles, watching me realize the contradictions. He didn't humiliate me. I did that myself, by following my own logic, to its inevitable conclusion. Women aren't oppressed by marriage. We're empowered by divorce. We're exercising choice at unprecedented levels, and calling it survival. It's not survival. It's preference. It's pickiness. It's the luxury of walking away. And some women need to walk away from actual abuse, actual danger, actual harm. But 80%. That's not all abuse. That's not all danger. That's just women deciding they're done. And that's fine. People can leave relationships. But let's call it what it is. Not oppression. Not bravery. Just choice. Choice that men don't have as freely. Choice that comes with rewards, not punishments. Choice that women are making en masse. We have the power in this area, undeniably. Admitting that doesn't erase other inequalities. But it does complicate the narrative. The simple story of male power and female victimhood. Real life is more complex. Power is more distributed. Women have advantages in some areas, men in others. But we can't say that. Can't admit nuance. Have to maintain that women are always disadvantaged. Always oppressed. Always victims. Even when the numbers show otherwise. Even when our own choices show otherwise. Sit in my empty apartment, with my expensive wine, in my successful career, with my complete freedom, and feel the weight of it. The loneliness of being right, according to feminism, and wrong, according to my heart. Chose independence, got isolation, chose career, missed family, chose freedom, lost connection, and I can't even be mad, because these were my choices, my priorities, my values. Feminism didn't force me. It just told me I was right, that I deserved better, that commitment was optional, that men were lucky to have me, and I believed it. Built my life around it, and here I am, 34. Alone. Successful. Empty. Exactly where feminism said I'd be happy. Exactly where I thought I wanted to be. Turns out wanting and having are different. Turns out ideology and reality diverge. Turns out the narrative was wrong. Women file 80% of divorces, and I finally understand why, and what it means, and what it costs. The guy in the cafe won, not by arguing, just by asking questions, and letting me find my own answers. The answers I've been avoiding, the truth I've been denying, the reality underneath the rhetoric. And now I have to live with it, knowing what I know, seeing what I see, unable to unsee it. This is what humiliation feels like. Not someone else shaming you, but realizing you've been lying to yourself. And everyone saw it but you. Drink the rest of my wine. Sit in the dark. Think about everything differently now. 80%. The number that changed everything. That revealed everything. That proved everything. Women have power. We just pretend we don't. So we can keep claiming more. Keep demanding more. Keep taking more. And I've been part of it. Enthusiastically part of it. Righteously part of it. Until today. Until Michael. Until the questions I couldn't answer. Until the logic I couldn't escape. Now I know. And knowing changes everything. And nothing. Because I still can't say it out loud. Still can't admit it publicly. Still have to perform feminism. Still have to support the narrative. But privately. In moments like this. I'll know the truth. Women aren't oppressed by marriage. Men aren't privileged in divorce. The system favors us. We use it. We benefit. And we lie about it. To others. To ourselves. To everyone. The lie I've been living. The lie I'll keep living. Because the truth is too costly. Too dangerous. Too lonely. Easier to pretend. To maintain the fiction. To stay in the tribe. Even knowing it's false. Even seeing the contradictions. Even understanding the cost. This is humiliation. Not loud in public. Quiet in private. The worst kind. Realizing you're wrong. And having to pretend you're right. Knowing the truth. And living the lie. 80%. Women file 80% of divorces. And I can't unknow it. Can't unsee what it means. Can't go back to comfortable ignorance. Michael didn't humiliate me. The statistics didn't humiliate me. I humiliated myself. By finally seeing clearly. And clarity is supposed to be freeing. Enlightening. Empowering. Instead, it's just lonely. And sad. And heavy. The weight of knowing. You've been wrong. About everything. For so long. And having no way forward. Except to keep pretending. Keep performing. Keep lying. Because the alternative is admitting it all. Losing everything. Having nothing. So I'll finish my wine. Go to bed. Wake up tomorrow. Be the same feminist I was. But different underneath. Changed. Humiliated. Aware. Of what women really have. What we really do. What we really are. Powerful. Choosy. Free. And desperate to pretend we're not.